What Cassie Ventura revealed on the fifth day of Sean, Diddy, Combs' trial is not just testimony. It's a bombshell that threatens to topple an empire built on fame, power, and silence. Secret tunnels hidden beneath a luxurious estate. Rooms where the darkness defies imagination. Nights orchestrated like rituals of control. These are not speculations pulled from a Reddit thread or a tabloid. This is the raw truth, delivered under oath by a woman who shattered years of fear to speak out. Today, we dive into this story, a story that could not only redefine Diddy's career but also expose the shadows lurking behind Hollywood's glamorous facade. Prepare yourself, because what you're about to hear is both shocking and impossible to ignore. On the fifth day of Diddy's trial, the courtroom was frozen in near tangible anticipation. Journalists, spectators, even the jurors seemed to hold their breath. Cassie Ventura, the superstar's former partner and a central figure in this case, returned to the stand. For months, rumors had swirled about secret tunnels beneath Diddy's Los Angeles property. Stories whispered in the dark corners of the internet, often dismissed as conspiracy theories. But that day, everything changed. When the defense attorney, in a bold attempt to unsettle Cassie, asked a question that silenced the room. "Ms. Ventura, have you ever been beneath the property, in the tunnel?" A heavy silence fell. The prosecution objected, calling the question irrelevant, but the judge allowed it. Cassie, her gaze steady, uttered a single word. "Yes." That word, brief as it was, shifted the courtroom's atmosphere. It was no longer a rumor. It was real. Cassie began to describe what she saw, her voice calm but laced with a gravity that sent chills down the spine. She spoke of a hidden entrance near the pool, concealed beneath carefully maintained foliage. A trapdoor, almost invisible, led to a concrete staircase descending into the earth's depths. The walls were cold, the air heavy, and a mechanical hum echoed through corridors lit by harsh fluorescent lights. This was no ordinary fallout shelter or luxury basement. Cassie described an underground network, a labyrinth of hallways that seemed designed for a far more sinister purpose. She followed Diddy, who moved with unsettling confidence, muttering disjointed phrases as if trying to prove a point. "He had that look," she said. "The one that said, 'Don't ask questions.'" When they reached a large room, the horror unfolded. Lit by an oppressive red glow, the chamber was equipped with cameras mounted in the corners, leather furniture, and objects that were anything but innocent: masks, ropes, latex outfits neatly arranged on shelves. A sharp odor hung in the air, a mix of cleaning chemicals, sweat, and something Cassie couldn't identify. She described two women in the room, one lying still on a couch, the other near a tripod with a camera. They wore wigs and masks, motionless, almost absent. Diddy called them performers. Cassie wasn't introduced. She sensed something deeply wrong was happening there. "This wasn't a place for pleasure," she testified. "It was a place for control, built to dominate." A phrase she quoted from Diddy haunted her forever. "This is where I bring the ones I own." Those words, whispered as he opened a final door, made her shiver. Behind it, she heard muffled sounds, like distorted music, before realizing they were human voices. She didn't want to know who was there. She fled, claiming she felt ill, and never returned to those tunnels. But the smell, the fear, and the images remained etched in her memory. Cassie's testimony didn't stop there. The court then delved into what Diddy called freak-offs, events that, beneath a seemingly playful name, concealed a terrifying reality. Cassie described these nights as meticulously orchestrated spectacles, planned with the precision of a business meeting. Hand-picked guests, drugs distributed like props, and strict instructions given in advance. Text messages shown in court were chilling. In one, Diddy wrote, "The game starts at 10 p.m., no breaking character until 8 a.m. In another, he ordered, "Bring candles, grab the outfits, I want you in a wig." Cassie explained that these events weren't occasional. They happened at least twice a month, sometimes in luxury hotels, sometimes in Diddy's private homes, and yes, sometimes in the tunnels. She admitted to occasionally consenting, but added a heartbreaking clarification. Consenting while drugged isn't consent. She described nights when she was drugged without her knowledge, waking up with no clear memories, sometimes on the floor, with the camera still running. "I didn't know who was in the room," she said. "I didn't even know how I got there." Cassie revealed that Diddy kept recordings of these nights, not as keepsakes, but as tools for blackmail. Once, she saw a video of herself on his laptop, a scene involving two men she didn't recall experiencing. When she begged him to delete it, he replied, "I keep everything for leverage." This control extended far beyond those nights. Cassie described a system of constant surveillance. If she left the house without checking in, he'd call dozens of times. If he suspected infidelity, he grew paranoid, sometimes violent. She recounted a night when he accused her of having an affair with Kid Cudi, with whom she had briefly dated during a break from Diddy. That accusation sparked a rage that ended in blows. "He couldn't let it go," she said. "He used it to justify everything." Physical violence was a constant reality, though masked by Diddy's apologies and promises. Cassie described wrists gripped too tightly, shoves during arguments, and more severe incidents. A gash above her eyebrow, caused by a night when he accused her of cheating. Another time, in the middle of the Caribbean Sea, he threw her off a boat, calling her dead weight. She swam to shore, terrified, but returned to him, trapped in a cycle of fear and dependency. One of the most striking moments of her testimony involved the night before her film premiere, an event she had anticipated for years. Diddy pressured her into another freak-off. She resisted, but he insisted, calling it a tradition, to celebrate big moments. Exhausted, she gave in, hoping to avoid conflict. At the Intercontinental Hotel, she expected a private evening, but found strangers, cameras, and candles. She was given a pill to relax. She recalled flashes, a masked dancer, Diddy filming, her own reflection in a mirror, slurring words she didn't understand. She woke up alone, drenched in sweat, unsure of what had happened. Hours later, she walked the red carpet, smiling for the cameras, hiding her bruises beneath a carefully chosen dress. So why is Cassie speaking now, after years of silence? Her response echoed through the courtroom like a cry from the heart. "Because it's not just about me anymore. It's for every woman who passed through that house, those who never came back." She admitted to staying silent out of fear, convinced no one would believe her against a man as powerful as Diddy. But something changed. After the Intercontinental incident, she began to envision a life without him. She flew to New York alone, and for the first time in years, she felt she could breathe. She started therapy, confronting memories she had buried. Then, she filed a civil lawsuit, not for money, but to leave a record. "I'm not crazy. It happened." That lawsuit opened the floodgates. Other women began to speak, anonymous complaints surfaced, and the FBI raided Diddy's properties, searching for evidence of trafficking and coercion. What they found remains sealed, but rumors mention underground structures, files, and recording devices. Cassie didn't want to become a symbol, but her testimony has made her a voice for those who have none. She mentioned other women at the freak-offs. Some escorts, others strangers, sometimes celebrities. Some arrived masked, others in tears. She named Tiffany Red, a former friend who tried to warn her years earlier. In an open letter published in Rolling Stone, Tiffany had called out Diddy's behavior but was silenced. Cassie also pointed to Diddy's staff, assistants who coordinated the women's arrivals and cleaned up afterward. "They weren't blind," she said. "They knew." In closing her testimony, Cassie spoke of her quest for healing. She tried to pretend none of it happened, telling loved ones she and Diddy simply grew apart. But inside she was broken. Therapy helped her piece herself back together, recalling nights she had suppressed and faces she had encountered. She expressed a simple yet powerful hope, that justice be served, not just for her, but for every woman who passed through those tunnels, those rooms, those nights. Her testimony wasn't just an accusation. It was a warning, a call to break the silence that shields the powerful. This trial, with Cassie's revelations, could change how we view celebrity. Diddy, once untouchable, is now at the center of a judicial and media storm. Accusations are piling up, voices are multiplying, and the secrets he thought buried are rising to the surface. But this isn't just Diddy's story. It's the story of a system that allows powerful men to manipulate, control, and silence. Cassie has broken that system, at least for herself. And in doing so, she's given courage to others. So, what do you think of these revelations? Do you believe justice will be served, or will power and money shield Diddy once again? Share your thoughts in the comments, spread this video to keep the truth alive, and subscribe to stay updated on the next developments. This trial isn't just a legal event. It's a moment that could redefine how we confront the abuses hidden behind fame. Stay with us, because this story is far from over.